It's interesting that you say you condemn the violence, but in your big Substack post on the riots, you only condemned the violence against the police. You did not condemn the violence against Muslims, Asians, the attack on a mosque in Southport. There was not one word from you about that, and you wrote a 2,000-word piece.
Well, I'm sure I did at the time, and I condemn it now. Well, I think going out and doing a mass stabbing and going on
a mass stabbing is very British. Sorry to break it to you. A lot of British people do stabbings and killings. This kid was a Brit, is a Brit. Or is he not a Brit to you?
It depends how you define national identity.
Wow. So am I not a Brit?
No, I think it's, do you respect the country that you live in, and do you follow the rule of law?
So it's a conditional citizenship?
It's not conditional.
You just said it depends on whether you respect the country you live in. For somebody who doesn't want to judge people on group identities, why are you bringing up the parents of this kid? Do you have any evidence?
We have lots of evidence.
You do?
Social science has lots of evidence that the second, third generation migrants bring over certain cultural habits, traits, practices.
Murder.
No, but for example, second-generation British Muslims, for example, will express higher levels of religiosity.
He wasn't Muslim. That's part of the problem.
No, but the underlying point...
No, because you're dodging the point here. This guy was the son of Rwandan immigrants, and you cannot explain to this audience why you thought it was relevant to bring that up.
I've just explained.
Because Muslims bring communal practices.
No, I've said I think it's obviously about immigration. He is a product of immigration.
That had nothing to do with it, as far as we know. We don't, but you're the one making the claim, not me.
I'm saying, in the context of that week, there are lots of questions to ask about to what extent was this guy integrated into wider society?
Don't make sweeping statements. Here's the problem, Matt. Your critics would say that you used to be an academic. You sat on the Conservative Coalition government's anti-Muslim hatred working group. You used to gather data. You used to analyse it in a sober way. Now they say you just go on the right-wing TV channel GB News. You write columns on the Daily Mail.
Oh, there's lots of left people on GB News.
You spout off, though. You cut corners. This is what they say. You push unfounded claims. You said on GB News, for example, falsely, and I quote, "More than 50% of social housing in London is now occupied by people who are not British. This is not acceptable." Well, forget not being acceptable. It's not true.
I think it's about that. I think it's about 47, 48%.
It's not, actually. The percentage of people who are not British in London social housing is about 14%. No. 85% of people are British citizens.
No, so my view would be, in terms of housing, we're in the middle of a housing crisis. I think we should have a principle of national preference in our housing market.
We do. 85% of people in London are British who are in social housing. No, you falsely said that more than 50% are not British. That's false.
No, across the country, more generally.
Across the country, it's 90%. According to the Ministry of Housing.
When we were allocating social housing, we also used to take into account things like commitment to the community, looking after property, etc. We don't really do that anymore.
That's a fair point. That's not what you said, though. I just want to go with what you said, Matt, with respect. More than 50% of social housing in London is now occupied by people who are not British. That is not true.
I'd need to look at the statistics.
We have the statistics. According to the London government,
I also wrote...
the figure in London is 84%. According to the 2021 census data, only 14% of Londoners living in social housing did not hold a UK passport. This has been pointed out to you for the last year.
No, it hasn't.
In fact, you went back on GB News and corrected it and said 48% go to people who are headed by people who are not born in Britain, which is a different point. But you would accept the vast majority of people in social housing are British.
I'd need to look at the data.
I've got the data.
No.
It's right here.
The fact that 48... I think the 48...
Copied and pasted.
I think the fact that 48% of social housing in this country has gone to families that are headed by somebody who was not born in the country is a problem.
So that's a different argument, with respect.
Well,
and let's talk about that argument.
Well, let's have that.
No, let's have that argument. You were wrong on the first point.
I don't think I was wrong on the first
point. You're 100% wrong.
Well, I'd like to look at the data.
The Mayor of London, the census data.
I don't think the Mayor of London would be a credible source on that.
OK, the London government... The London government don't know who the...
It's a highly political figure.
All right, how about the Ministry of Housing? 90% of social homes go to UK nationals. You're making some sweeping claims, and they're wrong. You also said on right-wing channel GB News that I bet nobody knew this, but it's not a criminal offence to hire illegal immigrants in this country. That's not true either. You can be sent to jail for 5 years, according to the British government.
No, I don't think that's right. You can hire, under certain conditions, people that haven't got full-time.
If you didn't know, we checked with the Department of Justice. You can be sent to jail for 5 years if you're found guilty of employing someone who knew or had reasonable cause to believe did not have the right to work in the UK. What you said on GB News was just false.
Why, for example, have the French spent much of the last year saying that we are a soft touch when it comes to illegal migration?
Maybe the French, like you, didn't check the facts.
No, well, maybe... Who do I trust? The French Interior Minister...
You trust the French Interior Minister over our own Ministry of Justice?
No, what I'm saying is
absurd.
It's very easy in the UK to game the system, a lot easier than it is in other European countries.
Matt, I agree with you, but that's a different point.
No, it isn't a different point.
It is, Matt. This is my whole point.
All of this
you can make legitimate arguments, but you don't. You say things that are flat false.
All of this is coming back to the central point, which runs through the riots, immigration, the rise of populism, and so on, which is, firstly, do people feel safe in their own country? And secondly, do they
feel... They should feel safe. Crime is at record lows.
Do they feel that this country treats everybody fairly? And there is a widespread perception out there that this country does not treat people fairly. It treats newcomers more...
Maybe there's a widespread perception because they see people on TV who are professors giving false statistics about immigrants.
I don't think that's true. You'll be our last.